A player named Katevolved has just recently hit rank 1, one-tricking a champion that is primarily used in low elo. A champ that at the mash of a keyboard can get a pentakill in seconds, called Katarina. What's crazy is that the higher the rank you climb, Katarina mains will realize that her laning phase is some dookie, and in teamfights if someone CCs you, you're dead. Today we're going to be talking about this so-called Katevolved player and how he did the cheat code to get 1,757 LP in rank 1. Before this video starts though, please if you would drop a like if you enjoy and subscribe to see more like this in the future. And I wanted to try something new today. So I really want to hear y'all's feedback on whether you prefer the new style summary of top players and like new tactics or just gameplay like I've made in the past. So Katevolved was once known as the most toxic streamer, with him doing very questionable things in the past, like having a bot spam racial slurs, and just trying to enrage other streamers for attention, like starting his beef with former League of Legends streamer Yassuo.
Stop being cringe, stop clout chasing, take my name out of your rat mouth, Katevolved.
With him being in Academy and in top tier challenger 2 years ago for a while, even in Korea, he felt like he was on top of the world and was known for having an ego bigger than his head. He started beef with every single Katarina main possible to let them know that he's the best in the game and no one can come close to his level.
Alright, well now I don't care. Gamer Girl's a shit Katarina. I'm always gonna be better than her, no matter what. I don't give a fuck.
This man's got replaced in Academy after 1 year.
After building an absolutely terrible reputation, he apologized to everyone who he has wronged and said that he's on the path to being reformed. From then on, he never flamed anyone and just focused on himself till today, where he hit rank 1. His strategy of playing passive Katarina in lane, then becoming a perma roam bot post 6, seems to be a simple yet effective strategy of getting him rank 1. But on top of that, he manages to average 9 to 10 CS per minute on an assassin and averages 20 plus kills a game in challenger. So Katevolved, you will see him build 200 different builds and runes in challenger and make them work, but that's mainly due to the fact that, you know, he's goated at the champ. Everything from First Strike, Dark Harvest, Conqueror, AP, AD, and Tank Katarina, they are all viable in situations depending on the game he says, but most commonly you will see Katevolved play Conqueror Riftmaker build into comps that are more bruisery and tanky, or he will go Electrocute as his keystone and Rocket Belt 80% of the times in well-balanced enemy team comps where they're squishy targets he can burst easily and one-shot them in the mid to late game. The skill max order is RQEW for the AP variation and REQW for the AD because how her damage is spread with each of these setups. As for summoner spells, there's a lot of debate between going Flash Ignite, Exhaust Ignite, or Teleport Ignite. Katevolved goes Flash Ignite in 99% of his games to make sure that his teamfight is as strong as possible, with him having the most mobility to either secure kills or get him out of harm's way from CC. There are a couple exceptions where if he's playing against a mage where he has no kill pressure and gets harassed quite heavily like Azir, he will opt for the Teleport Ignite page to try to minimize the hard lane matchup. There are many Katarina one-tricks that will argue that X or Y is better, but feel free to experiment with what you think is best, but for Katevolved, Ignite and Flash is what he sees lets him play Katarina the most efficiently. If you want to experiment with the not so popular nerfed Sunfire Aegis setup, then your build would be Conqueror Keystone, with the items being Nosher's Tooth, Magic Pen Boots, Sunfire's Aegis into AP Bruiser or full AP Burst items. Occasionally, he would have opted for that First Strike, but ever since it has gotten nerfed, in 98% of the games he plays, he just goes Conqueror and Electrocute as the best build with the AP. Yeah, AD Cats kind of got nerfed really heavily, and you really just never go it. Very niche situations you can though. In the words of Katevolved and how to explain the laning phase.
In high elo, Katarina does not dictate any matchup. The enemy champion usually does. And Zed is one of those champs. So the only way I can win lane is if he fucks up. But if I play well, I won't win lane. You know, that's
So starting the lane off, Katevolved just chills back into basically 99% of lanes and lets them shove him under tower while trying to queue minions for last hits. Katarina's early game is terrible comparatively to every champion, including the assassins, bruisers, and mages she might play against. There are niche situations where you can shove into champions like Gangplank or Fizz, but typically the goal in lane is to be reactive to how your enemy is, and most of the time just let them shove you in. The goal within the first few levels is to match CS with your enemy and possibly bait the enemy laner in if your jungler can gank. The two situations Katevolved will find himself in is the minions crash under his tower, then on the wave pushing back, his jungler will try to gank or look for something, or he shoves the first 4 waves under the enemy tower in matchups where he can, then looks for a cheater recall to buy his items. A common mistake people will always make, especially in low elo, is they will always try to win lane as Katarina starting level 1, which will always result in them getting solo killed or an unnecessary death. After the first recall in the early game, Katevolved prefers to buy flat AP and build towards a Rocket Belt or Nosher's Tooth depending on which mythic build setup he's going for. When he heads back to lane, this is where the game gets, a little spicy, where he wants to apply pressure, constantly looking for roams towards fights that might happen in the jungle or roams he can make bot. Another common mistake that low to mid elo players do so often is that they only play to 1v1 their laner even if it's a losing matchup. For example, this Renekton stat checks Katarina completely and it's impossible for Katevolved to win 1v1. But by looking and panning his camera around, he is able to get a double kill towards his topside jungle. After getting some kills, assists, and CS for a slight lead, Kat wants to recall right away so he can spend his gold and start snowballing, opting to buy the Hextech Alternator. Katarina's champion identity loves chaos, and with the help of his jungler and support, Renekton is never able to engage because he has to fear getting ganked with the fed Katarina mid. The goal once Kat turns level 6 is to quickly shove in waves cleanly with her QEW combo, then look at what's happening on the map to try to provide pressure and possibly get kills like on this Echo. Notice that even though Katevolved is 3-0 at this given time, he still chooses not to solo kill the bruiser Renekton, instead to shove in mid wave and then look to attend to a fight in the jungle. You can also notice that most assassin mains, a very common mistake is to roam randomly and completely int away any lead you may have gotten to a stupid tower dive. Katevolved will only take roams where everyone he is going to is in kill range with one combo, their jungler can't counter gank, and his team is strong enough to win the fight regardless of who shows up. Too many times these assassin players make these random ass roams that don't fit those criteria and are inconsistent in their gameplay. Notice how he does well so consistently, dying very little in his games because he will never randomly with no vision go onto an enemy. Instead he waits for a fight to break out, then comes for the cleanup. Now in the mid game, when bot lane goes mid, Katevolved doesn't just follow them mid to take their XP. Instead, he goes into the side lane to pick up farm in CS so he can try to average that 9 to 10 CS per minute. He takes these constant recalls, then goes to top wave to take every single wave possible before a dragon or baron teamfight happens, so that way he can be super far ahead in gold and resources. After he clears waves, then he will always look to sweep river and get vision control so that way he can either get a pick or a nice flank later into the game. When people overextend now, with the lead he has gotten, he is able to pop them out of fog of war, then instantly burst them with his E, W, Q, R combo. There's two key ways Katevolved will approach these mid to late game team fights. It's either the 80% of the time where he will wait for everyone to use their CC and abilities, then come in for the cleanup, kind of like how a Master Yi is played. The other 20% of the time, Kat will go in first, then use Zonius to bait them in, and after that it will give enough time for his team to back him up, then together they sweep the enemy team. The main goal in these teamfights is to never get hit by CC, so in most games, you will see sooner or later Katevolved buying Zonius to try and counter some of the point and click crowd control the enemy can hold. Katarina isn't a champ that will often take camps. Instead, the best course of action in the mid game to get the most favorable biggest lead possible would be to push out a side lane wave, sweep all their vision, then look for a fight with a good opening because of the vision control you have done. This right here is a prime example of what would happen if you done these steps correctly and the enemy has to face check into a place where they have no vision of because they want to fight for an objective. Katevolved shows here the importance of being as slippery as possible in these team fights and never letting them have a chance to focus him constantly dashing / moving back and forth. The way Katevolved closes out games once he gets Baron isn't like a low elo player throwing back and forward his lead. Rather, since he knows that his team doesn't have a lot of wave clear, he doesn't just want to randomly ARAM it. Instead, he drops into the side lane to get higher CS per minute, then when a fight breaks out, he arrives to clean up the mess. Commonly, you will see people not knowing what they're doing with Baron and then just running it down taking random fights where they're outnumbered. With this simple shove sidewave then group strategy, you can see how it makes him a lot more consistent and never lets his enemy free farm their way back into the game. And as we're watching the final team fight of the game, with the vision control they have, Katevolved uses his champion to get a pentakill after baiting them in with his Zanias.
Pentakill.
Alright, so how does Katevolved minimize against these hard lane matchups at the start of the game like Nico or Rumble? Some helpful tips is he actually goes D-shield, and into really unfavorable matchups he will opt for that teleport. He utilizes his WE combo to safely farm really well, making sure that he can W at a faraway distance back, so that way when the enemy trades back onto him, he could just E away. The goal in these hard matchups is to go even in CS and XP, then find a favorable roam to put you ahead. That's why you see so often Katevolved will even counterpick himself in Challenger, because he knows the lane matchup doesn't dictate who will win the game. Don't think that Katevolved is just a one trick though, because when he gets target banned, he still has champions where he has over a 52% win rate on to climb with. As long as his team comp is decent enough to have Katarina on, even when they have a ton of CC and he gets counterpicked, there are ways around it like Zonias and vision controls, so that way he has first attack advantage in big team fights. Bonus tips from him that could get you some LP, like how you can save yourself in certain situations or chase down kills with Katarina daggers that can actually jump through walls. It depends on which wall you want to jump and how thick it is, but by using the edge of your dagger, it can be used to hop over walls, kind of like Yassuo with Gromp. Katevolved uses this trick to escape out of chase situations and chase down kills when they flash over the wall. This neat trick is able to land him some kills and stop him from dying so much. Another neat trick is the E-flash combo he uses to gap close super long distances to secure kills or engage fights. This Shumpo combo is really underrated in his opinion and needs to be used more by all Katarina players to just be overall more aggressive. Secret tip, no one knows this in the world, but it increases his win rate by 10%. Katevolved uses his emotes 20 times at least a game, and the rumors are that's why he's rank 1. So you need to try it out. Alright guys, if we can get the like goal of 1,000, that would make my day. Feel free to follow me on Twitch if you'd like to watch some Grandmaster tier gaming. I'm out.